Hello, friends. I have been obviously paying a lot of attention to my chair is very squeaky, to the Epstein files, right? And Hillary Clinton was deposed last week, and I have just so much detest for this woman that I think instead of going through the files anymore, I'm gonna listen to what this bitch has to say. Um, I have so many words for her. If you were political or politically active at all in 2014-ish, 15, 16, you'll know what she did even if you knew nothing about her ahead of time. Now, if you just have a team and you root for that team, whatever, more power to you, but then you probably don't know how heinous she is. But just her face during this deposition where people have been tortured and just like the most sinister things you can imagine. And this woman, ugh, like I just don't know how anyone could ever think that she is a decent human who would be a good leader. Look at her. She's bored. She's annoyed that she's there before she even speaks. Like, instead of being like, how can I help the survivors? I will give you all of the information that I have. She's already on the defense because she is a horrible person. Let's see.
Or appearance. For the purposes of the deposition, objections must be stated concisely and in a non-argumentative and non-suggestive manner. If the witness refuses to answer a question to preserve a privilege, the committee may seek a ruling from the chair. If the chair overrules any such objection, the witness shall be ordered to answer. If the witness continues to refuse to answer a question despite being ordered to do so, the witness may be subject to sanction. Do you understand?
Insofar as I understand
she was
the
falling asleep.
rules of privilege, I don't have any specific knowledge of your committee's ideas of privilege.
Understood. Ordinarily, we take a 5-minute break at the end of each hour.
She didn't say yes.
If you need a longer break or a break before that, please let us know and we will be happy to accommodate. However, to the extent that there is a pending question, we would ask that you finish answering the question before we take a break. Do you understand?
Yes.
Finally, I will note for everyone here today that the contents of what we discuss in the deposition is confidential under the House deposition regulation.
I'm shaking.
Under the rules, the chairman and ranking minority member shall consult before any release of testimony or transcripts, including portions thereof.
Let me mute this guy.
This means it is a violation of House and committee rules to disclose content of the deposition prior.
Because she's not wrong. This part is boring. It's laying out all the rules for their conversations. And it is dull, and she has been through this before, so she does know what the hell is going on. Fine. But like, look at that face. Ugh. Look at okay, let's see what she's gonna raise her hand and say.
Is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but
Oh,
I do.
Swearing under.
Do you have any other questions before we begin?
Yes, I have an opening statement that I would like to deliver before we begin. Mr. Chairman, ranking member, members of the committee.
Sorry.
As a former United States Senator.
Before she starts rambling, I started listening to her earlier, and this is about as far as I got. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a reaction video to this shit. And you know what? It might take me 2 weeks because this is a 4.5 hour long deposition. But I'll chunk it out because I'm gonna go through everything she says, like piece by piece, because these people are snakes. And like, just if you saw any clips of anyone talking about them, like Clinton, just Bill Clinton the next day says that he's friends with the Rothschilds. Like, just these people are so horrible. And I don't know how people like yes, she says the words that like make sense that you want to support, but like, look at her scowl. Look at how much she hates us for even asking questions. She hates us. You see it. Like, how could you ever think that this is a person you should get behind? I'm with her. Ugh. Sorry, let's go.
Senator, I have respect for legislative oversight, and I expect its exercise, as do the American people, to be principled and fearless in pursuit of truth and accountability. As we all know, however, too often congressional investigations are partisan political theater, which is an abdication of duty and an insult to the American people. This committee justified its subpoena to me based on its assumption that I have information regarding the investigations into the criminal activities of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. Let's see what Hillary was doing. In 2000, let's call it like 2006, okay? Let's just see where she was. Because I know she was around. Senator. She was a senator at the time in New York. Oh, where Epstein had a residence. She doesn't know anything about this billionaire that handles a ton of billionaires' money. And she runs for office. She needs a ton of money. She has no idea. She has no idea. So I just wanted to make sure y'all know. Like, I don't want to misspeak. I knew she was working for public office, but I couldn't remember the timeline, right? But here it says in 2006, Hillary Clinton was serving as a U.S. Senator from New York, a position she had held since 2001. Okay. Okay. She's great. She's so good. Okay, let's continue.
Let me be as clear as I can.
That always means she's lying.
As I stated in my sworn declaration on January 13th, I had no idea.
Okay, wait, I'm sorry. But do you remember Corinne Jean-Pierre used to say that shit every day? Every day. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. I have been clear. I have been crystal clear. Liars. Sorry. Okay.
About their criminal activities. I do not recall ever encountering Mr. Epstein. I never flew on his plane or visited his island, homes, or office.
She wouldn't need to. She wouldn't need to go to any of those places. She was where he was. They could just go to the bar in a basement somewhere. Like, okay.
Offices. I have nothing to add to that. Like every decent person, I've been horrified by what we have learned about their crimes. It's unfathomable that Mr. Epstein initially got a slap on the wrist in 2008, which allowed him to continue his predatory practices for another decade.
Okay. So she says 2008, right? What was Hillary Clinton doing in 2008? She was running for the Democratic Party's presidential nomination. Oh, so was she probably fundraising? Was she probably trying to get money from wealthy people? And maybe she could get someone to give him a sweetheart deal because she had good ties in New York and the federal government, obviously, because of her husband. And yes, she didn't have any idea. Let's see. What else, Hillary?
Mr. Chairman, your investigation is supposed to be assessing the federal government's handling of the investigations and prosecutions of Epstein and his crimes. You subpoenaed 8 law enforcement officials, all of whom ran the Department of Justice or directed the FBI, when Epstein's crimes were investigated and prosecuted. Of those 8, only 1 appeared before the committee. 5 of the 6 former attorneys general were allowed to submit brief statements stating they had no information to provide. You have held 0 public hearings.
Okay. I'm gonna go over to Web really quick and just see if Epstein has any obvious ties to any other attorneys general currently. Let's just see. New chat. I can't do it. Okay. I'm gonna write that one down. Because I don't even know, what did she say? Was she talking about right now? I think she's talking about right now in these depositions. So I'm gonna see what attorney general have been subpoenaed about Epstein as of 3/4. Today is the 4th of March, 2026. So I'll just check it out as of this date, but I'll do that later because I can't do web right now while I'm screen sharing and stuff. It's a whole thing. And I've never done this before. I just have a lot to say about this woman I have for years and years and years. She burned me in the dirtiest way in 2016. Little me, who had faith in the system, who was a delegate for Bernie, watched Bernie get the popular vote in our state and then or county rather. But then they come around to actually though Hillary wins because of super delegates. So sorry. Right then, the primaries, I didn't most of America doesn't realize how important the primaries are. And the Democrats have been cheating in the primaries since at least 2016. This bitch. But it could have been way before that. I just was a child and I haven't done enough research yet. But they have cheated in every primary since 2016. So I don't know. I don't know why I was on that tangent. I just
Refused
can't
to allow the
stand.
media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. You have made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the Epstein files. And when you did, not a single Republican member showed up for Les Wexner's deposition. This institutional failure.
Okay, I'm gonna look up also later who showed up. Oh, I whistled for Lex Wessner's deposition. Okay. She annoys me. Okay.
Is designed to protect one political party and one public official, rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter.
Who had control?
My heart breaks for the survivors,
Who had
and I am
control?
furious on their behalf.
Who had control from 2008 to 2016? Who had control? Who had control from 2020 to 2024? None of y'all wanted to say anything. I am not on either of these teams and have not been since I saw her cheat in 2016. Because I already knew I wasn't anti-gay marriage, anti-women's rights. Like, I knew I wasn't that. I knew I wasn't racist, which is what I was told Republicans were racist. I know plenty who are not racist. I don't believe that anymore, but yeah, I consider I was in my 20s. I had full faith in the system. I was so excited to be a delegate. I was a delegate in our town. I was a delegate in our county. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And then she cheated right in my face. I am not on board with that. Cut in line in front of me and see if I'm gonna be nice. I'll be nice actually, but I will make like remarks, right? Like you're gonna know. I'm gonna make you uncomfortable with the fact that you just did something shitty, even if I'm not like, hey, go away. Or hey, I won't do that, but you'll know. There will be signs. Anyway, she's a cheater. She's a cheater. Let's see.
I have spent my life advocating for women and girls.
Have you?
I have worked hard to stop the terrible abuses so many women and girls face here and around the world.
Okay. This is why it's gonna take me like a month to break down this deposition because you work to help children. Let's see. Hillary Clinton, Haiti. Let's see. I want to see what years she was helping in Haiti. And then I want to see how many children went missing at that time. But they might not have good records. Let's see. 2009 to 2013, she was helping in Haiti to recover from an earthquake. Wait. Oh, well, I guess there's an earthquake in 2010, which made her prioritize it more. Oh, they were gonna build back better, just like America. They just regurgitate the same bullshit and none of it ever works. Build back better. This is from 2010 and they're still using it. What's better? Tell me. Okay, Clinton Foundation and USAID, or it says US Aid Initiatives. I don't know if that's meant to be AID or if it really is US Aid. I'm not sure, but let's see. Um, of course I can't see it. Um, Clinton Foundation initiatives directed hundreds of millions of dollars toward Haiti, including $36 million from the Clinton Foundation and $500 million in commitments through Clinton Global Initiative. Um, a major project with, I remember this, a Caracol Industry Park, a 600-acre garment factory complex funded in part by, it says US Aid, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say USAID, which is an NG, whatever. It's a big problem. Um, which promised up to 60,000 jobs, but has employed fewer than 5,500 people. So it's money laundering. That was a money laundering project, 100%. Or they're using child labor. Because how do you have this massive 600-acre garment factory complex that only employs 5,500 people? So anyway, oh, look, there's a whole section. I didn't even ask about controversies. They just show up. Allegations include claims that the Clintons promoted a neoliberal economic model favoring foreign investment over local needs. Reports indicate that Haiti's minimum wage was reduced when she came in 2009 with U.S. State Department involvement, though Hillary Clinton was not the sole architect. Additionally, her brother Tony Rodham, who, side note, people think is the fake dead body of Epstein, joined a Haitian gold mining company that secured a lucrative contract under favorable terms during her tenure, raising nepotism concerns. Oh yeah, that's the biggest of her worries, huh? Oh, accountability and transparency issues. Wasn't she just the one bitching about transparency? And she's protecting children and she's helping people who are going through hardship. Accountability and transparency issues emerged due to the use of private email servers. Oh yeah, we've heard of that. The WikiLeaks, the Clinton servers, the private servers that she was not legally allowed to have, but somehow still just keeps everyone walks on eggshells for this one. Um, limited oversight of aid distribution. While the Clinton Foundation asserts it spent funds directly on aid without administrative fees, critics and Haitian activists have questioned where billions in aid went, with protests demanding, Clinton, where is the money? I wonder. Overall, while the Clintons framed their efforts as humanitarian and developmental, many assets conclude that Haiti has seen little improvement, with persistent poverty, political instability, and unmet promises undermining the long-term impact of their initiatives. So she helped, if not pushed, to reduce the minimum wage for Haitians the second she got there. Okay. Okay. She protects the people. Let's see what else she has to say.
Including human trafficking, forced labor, domestic violence, and sexual slavery. For too long, these have been largely invisible crimes or not treated as crimes at all. But the survivors are real and they are entitled to justice. In Southeast Asia, I met girls as young as 12 years old who had been forced into prostitution and raped repeatedly. Some were dying of AIDS. In Eastern Europe, I met mothers who told me how they lost their daughters.
Let's just say this right now, that when a child is sexually abused, it is never prostitution. That is not prostitution. That is abuse. That's it. Yeah, someone else got paid so she could be abused. That's not She didn't get anything out of that except a lifetime of pain or an agonizing death. So we need to stop saying child prostitute. That's not a fucking thing. Okay. 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 That's abused human.
And did not know where to turn. In settings around the world, I met survivors trying to rebuild their lives and help rescue others with little support from people in power who too often turned a blind eye and a cold shoulder. If you are new to this issue, let me tell you, Jeffrey Epstein was a heinous individual.
Highness?
He is far from alone.
Okay.
This is not
First of
a
all,
one-off.
She's a bad reader. She's a bad reader. That was heinous, Hillary. Heinous. He's heinous, not highness. Now you're worshiping him. You sound like you're calling him a king instead of saying he was horrible. So, good job.
Tabloid sensation or political scandal. It is a global scourge with an unimaginable human toll. My work combating sex trafficking goes back to my days as First Lady. I worked to pass the first federal legislation against trafficking and was proud that my husband signed the Trafficking Victims Protection Act, which increased support for survivors and gave prosecutors better tools for going after traffickers. As Secretary of State, I appointed.
I'm curious why, in the midst of a sexual scandal, she would focus on that, but that's just speculation.
A former federal prosecutor, Lucy DeBaca, to ramp up our global anti-trafficking efforts. I oversaw nearly 170 anti-trafficking programs in 70 nations and directly pressed foreign leaders to crack down on trafficking networks in their countries. Every year, we published a global report to shine a light on abuses. The findings of those reports triggered sanctions on countries failing to make progress, so they became a powerful diplomatic tool to drive concrete action. I insisted that the United States be included in the report for the first time ever in 2011. because we must hold ourselves not just to the same standard as the rest of the world, but to an even higher one. Sex trafficking and modern slavery should have no place in America. None.
She's
Infuriatingly, the Trump administration gutted the Trafficking in Persons Office at the State Department, cutting more than 70% of the career civil and foreign service experts who worked so hard to prevent trafficking crimes. The annual traffic.
Dang it. Okay. Here's the thing. I know she's talking about like her anti-trafficking work and stuff like that. But like, think of nature. Think of how predators act. Where do they go? Where do they go where their prey is? So do they go where the easiest prey is? So I'm just saying, when you say, I want to help these women, I'm going to go help these people who have been hurt or abused or trafficked or whatever. There's plenty of horrible, horrible people who are willing to say that just so they can get access. So, like, I worked with children who had special needs for a few years at an elementary school, and that was my biggest fear leaving that job. Like, I was so worried that a predator with no record, because you do need to do thumb fingerprints and everything, background check to work in the schools, but you can easily, if you're a good predator, you've never been caught, right? So like I always worry that these are the people that are going to come in under the pretense that they've got a good heart. They love these kids. Same time, these kids are nonverbal and cannot speak up for themselves. So just remember that. Like while they're saying the right things, like you dig a little bit and you see they're guilty of all this. Like I just read you a little blurb about Haiti. I bet if I dug deep into that, we would find some really messed up stuff about how many people are missing, how many children are working in the factories she set up. Like I vaguely remember, but remember this is 16 years ago now, like 2020 was like 16 years in itself, which I'm sure she had. Let's see what else she
Trafficking report required by law was delayed for months. The message from the Trump administration to the American people and the world could not be clearer. Combating human trafficking is no longer an American priority under the Trump White House.
What is
It's a tragedy.
How does she get that though? Like, I don't think he's doing what he said he was going to do. I think anyone who voted for him is probably really disappointed right now. Thank God. I would never sign up for that. But how could she say that when his whole thing was like deport the illegal immigrants who are committing child and drug trafficking? Like, at least make it make sense, right? Like, at least say something that makes sense. You can deny, deny, deny all day. We knew you were going to do that. But, like, we know he ran on getting dangerous people out of the country who are not citizens. And that's a huge part of human transportation or whatever you're supposed to say on YouTube, whatever. But like she's such a bold-faced liar and she has to read because she's lying. She can't how you can't keep it all up there. Well, she's so
It's a
she
scandal,
might be able to.
and it deserves vigorous investigation and oversight. A committee endeavoring to stopping human trafficking would seek to understand what specific steps are needed to fix a legal system that allowed Epstein to get away with his crimes.
Okay. Okay. I want to say she was Secretary of State at some point, so let's just yeah. I just can't remember the timeline because I was a child for a lot of this. Okay, she was the 67th Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013 under Obama. First former First Lady to serve in the U.S. Cabinet and the first Secretary of State to have previously been an elected official. Like, yeah, you bought it. Like, you guys cheat your way to the top. It's not. Okay, so anyway, maybe I'll see. What does the Secretary of State do for those of us who don't know? I would say responsibilities. They vary significantly. Blee, blee, blee. Let's see. Chief Foreign Affairs Advisor and head of the Department of State, serving as the principal advisor on foreign policy. So it was your job at the same time that this Epstein has been running around with billionaires all over the globe with all the leaders and you didn't know. It was your job to know. It was your job to know that he was a spy. It was your job. Okay, so let's see. Conducting negotiations on international matters, including treaties and agreements. I wonder who she made sure to benefit in those. Granting and issuing passports. What a convenient position for a criminal who's affiliated with other criminals to have, because then you could just print fake passports and then these people can just run around pretending to be other people. Like, I didn't even realize that the Secretary of State was in charge of passports. That just like adds so much more to it. And she's gonna act like she doesn't know shit. And she was in these positions at these very times. Like if you know he's been convicted of human trafficking, I believe it was 2007, or he was charged in 2007 and convicted in '08 maybe for the first time. And so like she is in the middle of all of this at that time. And she's able to grant and issue passports for people. And, you know, it is very difficult for people to leave the country when they've committed heinous crimes. Like, there are a lot of emails, and I've learned this through the files that, like, once he was convicted, it was harder for him to leave. He had to, like, give the government of these countries notice that he was coming because he was a convicted predator. She knows all, like, come on. She is so full of it. Like, she can't like, why would she want to pretend? Like, the only reason she would want to pretend to be this stupid is because she is such a horrible person. Because you would have to be so slow to not know what was going on when it was literally your job. It's not our job. That was why you're in position, is so that you can keep an eye on things like this. So anyway, the passport thing, that really gets me. Advising presidents on appointments of ambassadors and ministers and consuls, representing U.S. at international conferences and organizations, ensuring protection of American citizens' property and interests abroad. So anyway, that's she.
A committee run by elected officials with a commitment to transparency would ensure the full release of all the files.
You were there.
It would ensure that the lawful redactions of those files protected the victims and survivors, not powerful men and political allies. It would get to the bottom of reports that DOJ withheld FBI interviews in which a survivor accuses President Trump of crimes. It would subpoena anyone who asked on which night there would be the wildest party on Epstein's island. It would demand testimony from prosecutors from Florida, New York, and the Department of Justice about why they gave Epstein a sweetheart deal
When
and
you
chose not to pursue others who may have been implicated.
She was the
in his
Secretary of
crimes.
State. She's going to act like she was powerless.
That Secretary Rubio and Attorney General Bondi testify about why this administration is abandoning survivors and playing into the hands of traffickers. It would seek out advocates and law enforcement officials on the front lines of the fight against human trafficking and ask them what support they need. And it would put forth legislation to provide more resources and force this administration to act. But that's not happening.
Are they acting by
Instead, you have compelled me to
questioning?
testify, fully aware that I have no knowledge that would assist your investigation in order to distract from President Trump's actions and to cover them up despite legitimate calls for answers. If this committee is serious about learning the truth about Epstein's trafficking crimes, it would not rely on press gaggles to get answers from our current president.
Okay, let me just say this too. I don't know why she's doing this. This does not make her look any better. Like, she's not a good speech giver. Like, she's just reading in this angry voice with this like scowl. It's like she should have just speak when spoken to.
President on his involvement, it would ask him directly under oath about the tens of thousands of times he shows up in the Epstein files. If the majority was serious, it would not waste time on fishing expeditions. There is too much to be done. What is being held back? Who is being protected? And why the cover-up? So my challenge to you, Mr. Chairman, and members of this committee is the same challenge I put to myself throughout my long service to this nation. How to be worthy of the trust of the American people that they have given to you. They expect statesmanship, not gamesmanship, leading, not grandstanding. And they expect you to use your power to get to the truth and to do more to help survivors of Epstein's crimes, as well as the millions more who are victims of sex trafficking in this country and around the world. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I would also like to request that the video of this deposition be made available within 24 hours, as it has been for other witnesses.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
It's not gonna make
The
you
time reads 11:34 a.m. The majority's time will begin now. Madam Secretary, in the interest of efficiency here today, I'm going to ask you one question followed by a list of names. The question can be answered yes or no. If you do indicate yes to any individual, I will come back and revisit that at the end. The question is, have you ever communicated with any of the following people relating to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell? Richard Kahn.
No.
Darren N. Dyke.
No.
Sarah Kellen.
No.
Doug Band.
Not that I recall.
Lawrence Summers.
No.
Huma Abedin.
Have I ever talked to her about this in preparation for this hearing? I have.
Outside of that,
Not that I recall.
Noam Chomsky.
No.
Leslie Groff.
No.
Nadia Marcinkova.
No.
John Luke Brunel.
No. I don't know most of these people. Should I tell you that I don't know who they are, or just tell you I never talked to them?
Just that you never talked to him
Okay.
is fine. Alan Dershowitz.
No.
Kathy Rumler.
No.
Bill Richardson.
No.
Okay, I'm just time stamping this list on the video so I can go back and look at the list. Names and search ties to Hillary. I just don't even believe any of what she's saying. She's so full of it. Like she knew, right? She was the most deeply involved with everything going on in the literal world. That was her job. Foreign affairs. Yes, I have ADD and I have to do this. It's fine. Um, she knew everything that was going on. So I'm gonna look at this list once I don't know. Once he's done asking this, I'll probably be done for a little bit because I think it's been kind of a, oh yeah, it's been 45 minutes. Like that's a long one. But anyway. Okay, I'm sorry. One last thing. Here we go. And then we'll probably stop it, right? Like, because it's already been 45 minutes and we only got through her stinking first statement. Um, but she's already full of lies. Like, there's 4 more hours of this. She's not going to tell the truth. She's not going to admit to anything, but maybe. I just have a feeling because, like, you know, Bill, I found out later on did this thing where he's like, I was not friends with Epstein, I was friends with the Rothschilds. Like, oh, great. So I have a feeling stuff like that will come out, even if she doesn't really actually admit to anything. But let's just see the rest of this list and see what she says about it, and then we'll call it there.
George Mitchell,
No.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly Prince Andrew,
No.
Peter Mandelson,
No.
Reed Hoffman,
No.
Karina Shuliak,
No.
Bill Gates,
No.
Ehud Barak,
Bill Gates.
No.
She doesn't know Bill Gates.
Woody Allen,
No.
Ehud Barak, you don't know him?
Sandy Berger,
No.
Jess Staley,
No.
Paul Morris,
No.
Leon Black,
No.
Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayam,
No.
Her eyes roll every time. Like, I feel like she's so full of shit.
Leslie Wexner,
No.
Jack Kessler,
No.
Mark Middleton,
No.
Harvey Weinstein,
No.
Ellie de Rothschild,
Why
No.
is she writing again?
Ariane de
So they
Rothschild,
can wipe
No.
any information she's got tied or something.
Lynn Forrester de Rothschild,
No.
Okay, Bill says
any other members of the de Rothschild family,
No.
Glenn Dubin,
No.
Eva Anderson Dubin,
No.
Casey Wasserman,
No.
Larry Visoki,
No.
David Rogers,
No.
Ira Magaziner,
No.
Daniel Gilbert,
No.
Karen Ewing,
No.
Stacy Plaskett,
Not that I recall.
liar. Fuck. Oh, see, she wrote it down again. She's lying and she's writing it
Howard
down.
Lutnick,
No. Not that I recall.
Liar.
Steve
She's
Bannon,
writing it down.
I don't know if I've ever met him. You all have to introduce me.
Liar.
I take that as a no.
Just to be absolutely clear, you've asked if I've ever communicated about Jeffrey Epstein, a man I never met, with any of these people, most of whom I've never heard of and certainly not met. That's the premise of your question.
Mr. Epstein or Mrs. Maxwell.
You did not say that.
Yes,
I
he
say that at the
did.
beginning. I will repeat the question.
No,
Yes,
okay.
he
And I
did,
didn't talk
bitch.
about her with any of these people either. I barely knew her.
David Gergen.
No.
Elon Musk.
Writing down.
No.
Abigail Johnson.
No.
Jeff Bezos.
No.
Larry Page.
No.
Sergey Brin.
No.
Louis Freya.
No.
A new member arrived. Would they please introduce themselves for the record?
Leslie Bell, very first impression.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I
Could you
swear
repeat
she
back
was
the
writing
initial
down
premise of your
names of
question,
people
because
she
I
was
did not
lying
hear.
about.
Yes, ma'am.
So they
Have you ever
communicate.
communicated with any of the following people relating to Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell?
I didn't hear the Maxwell piece, but we could ask her. It doesn't matter. It's the same answer, but I did not hear the Maxwell name in there.
Understood.
It was the last name you said, Larry Page?
It was Sergey Brin.
The last name I stated was Louis Frey. You indicated no, is that correct?
I think
Free.
you mean free?
Free, yes, ma'am.
Louis
No.
Free.
Oh
No.
no, she's gonna correct
And
him on his name, but she doesn't know
Sarah
him.
Kay.
These are all to the best of my recollection, as I say, many of these people I've never heard of. Most of these people I've never had a relationship with, although I know their name. Some of them are deceased. But I was not communicating about Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, as I understand what you're asking me, contacting people about them. That did not happen.
Because she's understanding it a different way. So she could see.
Is there anyone that you had a conversation with about Ghislaine Maxwell?
Oh, I'm sure I've talked about Ghislaine Maxwell, and especially in preparation for this hearing.
And outside of conversations with your counsel, what did you talk about Ms. Maxwell?
I don't recall any conversations about Miss Maxwell, but I knew her casually, so I can't tell you that I never had a conversation that mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell's name, because I don't recall that.
Understood. And you say that you knew Ms. Maxwell casually. What does that mean?
Just what I said. I knew her primarily as someone who dated someone that I knew.
And who was that individual?
Ted Waite.
And who is Ted Waite?
Ted Waite was a successful, as I recall, software developer.
He was your friend, as you recall.
And roughly when would the first time Ms. Maxwell would have come up in relation to Mr. Waite?
I don't recall, but perhaps sometime around 2010, because he was invited to my daughter's wedding and she was his guest.
Have you ever spoken with Ms. Maxwell personally yourself?
I'm sure I have, yes.
Do you estimate on how many occasions?
Not many. I didn't see her very often.
When would the first occasion have been?
I have no recollection.
Did your first interaction with Miss Maxwell occur while President Clinton was president of the United States and you were First Lady of the United States?
No, I do not recall ever meeting her while Bill was still in the White House.
Did Mr. Waite ever inform you what Miss Maxwell did for a living?
Not that I recall.
Did anyone ever indicate to you what Miss Maxwell did for a living?
Not that I recall.
When would the last time have been that you either communicated with Miss Maxwell, even if not directly yourself, but been around Miss Maxwell?
The best of my recollection is at the wedding in 2010.
Would you consider Miss Maxwell a friend?
No,
Would you consider her a friend of President Clinton?
he'll have to answer that.
Would you consider Miss Maxwell a friend of your daughter?
She probably was friendlier with her than I was because I didn't see her very often.
How often would your daughter have seen Miss Maxwell?
I have no idea. But again, it was in the context of her being in a relationship with Ted Waite.
Anyone else in your family have a relationship of some kind with Miss Maxwell?
That's my family. You asked about Bill and Chelsea.
And just to make clear for the record, have you ever met Jeffrey Epstein?
I do not recall ever meeting Jeffrey Epstein. In preparation for this hearing, I was told that he attended an event at the White House that was put on by the White House Historical Association. But I have no recollection of that.
It's really easy to just say you don't remember.
And only that one time at the White House Historical Association?
That's the only time that I'm aware of that I might have possibly been in the same room with him.
Did you have an initial impression of Mr. Epstein?
I have no recollection of Mr. Epstein. I'm just told that he was in a room at a dinner that we were hosting for the White House Historical Association.
What was your understanding of what Mr. Epstein did for work?
I knew nothing about him. He was there as an invited guest by the White House Historical Association. That's my best recollection.
And no one else informed you of what Mr. Epstein did for work?
No, but we had hundreds and thousands of people who came to the White House. I was not informed of what people did or didn't do for work, especially someone that.
How many times was Jeffrey Epstein at the White House? 17 times between 1993 and 1995 during Bill Clinton's presidency, according to White House visitor logs, which also include some crazy stuff. What's going on here? So anyway, interesting. One notable visit included a 1993 donors reception hosted by President and First Lady Clinton, which Epstein attended for donating $10,000 to the White House Historical Association. Ghislaine Maxwell accompanied Epstein on at least one of these visits, and both were photographed meeting Bill Clinton at the event. Hmm. Okay, I'm sorry. It's been an hour, so let's see what her last lie is before we call it here.
I never even had a conversation with.
Do you know who invited Mr. Epstein to the White House?
I can only tell you what I know, which is that he apparently was a guest invited by the White House Historical Association
And your
to
husband.
attend a dinner to thank people who gave money to the White House Historical Association for the upkeep and maintenance of the White House. That's what I was informed of in preparation for coming here.
Yes, ma'am. And understanding we focused the last few questions on your time in the White House with President Clinton. After that time period of President Clinton's administration, did anyone ever tell you what Mr. Epstein did for a living?
I don't recall ever talking about Mr. Epstein. He was not on my radar. He was not somebody that I had any connection to.
Even though he was at your event. No connection.
When President Clinton was traveling with Mr. Epstein on Clinton Foundation business, no one associated with the foundation at that time discussed Mr. Epstein with you?
Not that I recall. I was not involved with the foundation. I was a senator from New York, and I was deeply committed to my work, and it became one of the most intense experiences of my life when we were attacked on 9/11. I was not
When you
involved
were the
with what
senator.
was happening to create the foundation, to create the work that was done to get low-cost drugs for AIDS. I knew about the work. I didn't know about the details.
Understood. And to be clear, you never had any communication yourself with Mr. Epstein, whether that be face-to-face interaction, phone calls, emails, text messages.
You can answer it again.
I have no recollection in any way of ever having any conversation at the White House or in any other place or on any kind of device of any
I
sort.
would
know
not, could not
nothing
in a
about him.
car.
And
I would not, could not in a tree. I would
when
not.
did you learn of Mr. Epstein's 2006 indictment and subsequent arrest leading to his incarceration in 2008?
I have no idea. I was not paying attention. I was running for re-election in 2006. I ran for president in 2007, 2008. I don't know that I ever learned about it until much later when more things came out about it.
I wasn't paying attention.
Understood. And
Good job.
when did you first learn of
New
Mr.
York
Epstein's
Senator.
arrest in 2019?
Probably when it happened because it was headline news. I'm sure I, like everybody else, saw it in the press.
And in seeing that in the press, did you discuss Mr. Epstein or his case at the time with anyone?
I'm sure we did because it was a, big story.
That involved a lot of your friends. And you.
And
And your husband.
Mr. Epstein died in custody after following his 2019 arrest. When would you have learned of his death?
Whenever it was reported.
Going back slightly a question, you said you likely would have talked to someone regarding his arrest in 2019. Who would you have discussed that with?
Whoever was around. I mean, it was a big story, as you recall. It was a very big story. I don't have any specific recollections. It wasn't something that I was particularly focused on, but it was a big story.
And going back to Ms. Ghislaine Maxwell, when did you learn of her arrest in 2021?
Again, whenever it was reported as happening.
And did you discuss that with anyone?
I'm sure I did. It was another big story.
Okay. Okay. Let's just call it there for now. She's such a liar. I'll leave it at that. Happy first episode. I've been meaning to talk about current events for a long time, maybe a month, maybe two, I don't know. But this dropped and I'm like, okay, I don't want to watch what other people are clipping and report on the same thing that people are clipping. I need to watch this because I have been paying attention to this woman for a very long time. And although I'm with her, when people gave me a hard time, oh, you vote for Bernie, you're giving your vote to Trump. How could you? How could you? This bitch is heinous, as she would read it. Heinous. She's heinous. She's horrible. And I've felt this way for a long time, and I'm glad that now we can all watch together and pick apart every lie that she tells. And guess what? This will go for what? It was an hour of recording for me and about 40 minutes, 30 minutes of talking for her. So it's going to be a long process. And then old Billy Boy, he has his deposition the following day. So I want to do that too. But for now I'll take a break. Maybe I'll do some more in a little bit, but I need to go drink some water and stuff. Have a good one. Wow, she sucks so hard. It's crazy. Okay, have fun. Bye.